I have good news. So the Marvels movie is still coming out November 10th. There was a lot of discussion on if they should delay the movie or not. They're not doing that. And I'm grateful because I'm very much looking forward to this movie. I just don't see it doing that well. I don't think it's going to do anything near the level of the first one. And it'll be yet another Disney flop. Good news, though. The director's out there letting people know this one's going to be different. It's going to be, well, a wacky and silly good time. Like, this is original. Because, you know, we haven't had this in every Marvel movie. They're all wacky and silly now. I would love a good, serious comic book movie. This is why I liked the Batman movie. That movie is very serious. Tired of all these jokey, we got to have comedy in all of our movies. And apparently this one's going to be the wackiest yet. I'm sure that's going to really excite people. Has a musical number, by the way. Carol Danvers, Princess Carol Danvers now, gets married on a planet where everyone speaks in song. So I'm sure that everyone is just going to be super excited for that. Everyone is hyped for that silly, wacky Marvel movie because, you know, we haven't seen that before. Has she tested the temperature in the room here with this stuff? So here's what she had to say. Speaking in a conversation with Total Film magazine, the Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, promised a silly sequel is on the way in her Marvel Studios directorial debut. DaCosta, while describing superhero fatigue plaguing the industry, remarked the biggest difference from the other MCU movies and her Marvel film is that the Marvels is really wacky and silly. I think superhero fatigue absolutely exists. The biggest difference from the other MCU movies to date is that this is really wacky and silly. The worlds we go to in this movie are unlike any you've seen in the MCU, bright worlds that you haven't seen before. This is every Marvel movie. Every movie they've tried to do stuff like that. Ant-Man was in the quantum realm. No one cared. By the way, that was another wacky and silly Marvel movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a wacky and silly Marvel movie. Even though that one was more serious than the other ones, it still had a lot of Marvel jokes in it. Every Marvel movie tries to be wacky and silly. It's not a very good selling point. Not a very good selling point at all. Not looking forward to this movie. Well, I'm looking forward to it as a YouTuber because it's going to give me a lot of content. As a lot of other YouTubers will tell you the same thing. They're looking forward to it for content, especially if this movie flops. And I think there's a high chance that it will. I just don't think anyone cares anymore. All of these superhero films, except one, have bombed this year. The only one that did well was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I do think that that's because there's a track record when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy and James Gunn. James Gunn, talented guy, makes good movies. All the Guardians movies have been pretty good. You don't really need a lot of Marvel lore to go watch those. Even though with the third one you kind of did, but they still even had Gamora in there. So I think that movie just had a good track record and had good word of mouth. I don't think this movie is going to have good word of mouth. I think it'll do really good its opening weekend, as all of these Marvel movies do. It'll even probably have a record opening weekend, and then it's going to fall off a cliff. Now, the only thing that it has helping it is that maybe the strike will still be going on, and Brie Larson won't be able to go out there and tell you how she doesn't like men and all that shit. That would be a plus. Speaking of disasters, by the way, this is another one in the comic book world. Wonder Woman 3 won't fly in the new DC universe despite Gal Gadot teasing development plans. So the other day, Gal Gadot comes out and says that Wonder Woman 3 is still happening, still a thing. James Gunn and Peter Safran came out and said that they want to work with her. Wonder Woman's still happening. Can't see anybody else doing it. You're in good hands. And then Warner Brothers comes out and says it's not true. So what's going on here? Now, personally, in my opinion, everybody should be replaced. Nobody should be held over from the previous DCEU universe. Everybody should get a fresh reboot. Everybody should get a new character or a new actor playing the character. I think that would only be fair, especially with what happened to Henry Cavill. If that's the case, I think it's a little bit, it softens that blow a little bit better for people because let's go, okay, well, everybody's replaced. And I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to a third one, especially if James Gunn is behind it. But I still think you should replace everybody. But I don't know what's going on here. All I know is that Warner is still an effing mess. So she came out the other day and said, I was invited to a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran. Gadot said, they told me, and I'm quoting, you're in the best hands. We're going to develop Wonder Woman 3 with you. We love you as Wonder Woman. You've got nothing to worry about. And then, after she says that, Gunn supported her on Twitter, says, I can attest that all of my interactions with you, and Peter also says all his interactions with you are pleasant and professional. And then Warner comes out and says this film is not in development at DC Studios, nor do Gunn and Safran have any plans at this time for any Wonder Woman project in the new DC universe other than their previously announced Paradise Lost prequel series for Max. Well, anyway, sources have come out and said that. But here's the thing. So far, James Gunn hasn't refuted anything and said that this is happening or isn't happening. And usually he does. So what is going on over there? What a mess. What a mess. Do they have any idea what they're doing? Why is the communication so bad? Especially when you don't have anything going on right now. There are no things in production other than stuff that's already done, filming. Like nothing new is being made. You can't work on anything. Anyway, not really evoking a lot of confidence in consumers with this like weird messaging going on. But what do you think? What do you think's going on? Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.